Hello, and welcome to this week's episode of the Best Today podcast. I am your host, Shantae Grant, and today I want to talk to you about capacity, a really important word and concept in living a life of intention, living a life of health and well-being, physically, mentally, emotionally, every ali that there is, financially, spiritually, you name it. And I want to talk about the importance of understanding your own capacity seasonally, weekly, and daily, and really sometimes minute by minute. It's really important when you are checking it, making it really intentional and purposeful to check in with yourself and be aware of what you're holding and what you have room to hold, really. So as usual, let's just get started with some definitions because I was already off notes, y'all. But this topic just matters so much to me. It's so important in trying to help you be healthy, but really be intentional and optimize your time and understand our human limitations. Okay, so capacity. The official definitions before we get to my definition. Number one, the maximum amount that something can contain. So you've likely seen this in buildings where it says, max capacity 100 people. Okay. Number two, the ability to receive or contain. Like, do you have the capacity to learn X, Y, or Z? Does a 2-year-old have the capacity to learn physics? Probably not, right? So the ability to retain or receive or contain information or anything really. And number three, that something, the amount that something can produce, right? This is the capacity. This is the amount that this has the capacity to produce X widgets per minute, right? So those are like the official definitions of capacity when we're talking about, what are we talking about when we say capacity? Now, I always like to bring it home and use my own definition that helps you to see it and how it matters to you and your life. So my definition of capacity is the amount that can be peacefully and sustainably given or received without compromising or adversely affecting your mental, emotional, or physical well-being. I'm going to say it again. I'll go slow in case you want to write it down. Capacity is the amount that can peacefully and sustainably be given or received without compromising or adversely affecting your mental, emotional, or physical well-being. So when I talk about learning how to establish your capacity, I'm talking about what might feel like it is a boundary. At what point can I say, I don't have the capacity for this because I can't do this and remain at peace. I can't sustain it. I can't give it, and I have no more capacity to receive. Like I have no more capacity to receive X, Y, or Z. I have no more capacity to give X, Y, or Z because doing so will compromise or adversely affect my mental, emotional, or physical well-being. So what happens is when we exceed our capacity, and particularly when we do so consistently, right? That's where the dun 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 comes in, right? When you do it consistently and continuously, it often deteriorates, erodes, and depletes you. And so if you've ever found yourself saying, I'm just so exhausted, I got enough sleep last night, right? One good night of sleep is not going to undo moving and living beyond your capacity, right? It's like, I ate great food, I worked out, I had a good sleep, but I just feel so tired, either mentally drained, emotionally drained, physically drained. You're likely operating outside of your capacity, okay? And here's the thing about capacity, why it requires us being in tune with ourselves. Your capacity may change from day to day. It definitely is likely to change from season to season. It may change week to week. And some days it changes hour by hour because certain things can happen. You can get sick. That might cause a change in your capacity. Something may come up that takes now a large portion of your mental energy or time that is shifting your capacity. So understanding your capacity is necessary as you just continue assessing yourself within your daily life, right? It's a necessary assessment in your daily life. And day to day, it is, okay, which is why I'll just pause here and say, being able to proactively plan your days helps because from the front end, you can say, here's what I know I have to get done tomorrow. Here's what is necessary. And I only have the capacity to do the things that are necessary. I don't have the capacity to take on any other thing. Or I have the capacity, if something comes up here, I have an hour here. I have the capacity to take something on or to go and give this. Right? By doing that, you are already protecting yourself and your capacity by acknowledging it before the day begins. And now you know how much you have or do not have to give, right? So it's really helpful when you're in the day to now be able to refer to, I thought about this already. This is what I have the time for. This is what I have this for. If you want me to do that, I'm going to need to relinquish this thing, right?
At Best Today, we exist to help women just like you be your best one today at a time. So each week on the podcast, we are going to highlight your stories and your voices. So let's see what's in the inbox today.
This week on the podcast, we have a 5-star review of the weekly preview planning pads, say that 3 times fast, from Jessica. She writes, must have for weekly organization, ! I cannot live without this tool. Every Sunday, I review the Clear Your Mind section from the previous week, see what I need to move over, and then plan my week. I love the ability to see my week all at once. This tool truly gives me the clarity and visibility over my week. Thank you so much, Jessica. I'm going to tell you, I just had a friend this week who uses the Clear Your Mind weekly preview pads. She's down to her last sheet and she was saying, I am getting mine because I cannot even imagine what functioning looks like without my Clear Your Mind weekly preview pad. She is a teacher and she relies heavily on it every single week. She does her planning on Friday for the week coming up, and it helps her to show up every day as her best, not only as a teacher, a mother, a human. So if you are not previewing your weeks and using the weekly preview planning pads from Best Today, this is your invitation. We will link to them in the show notes to this week's episode at besttoday.co/102. Or if you go to besttoday.co, you can hit the shop button and look under weekly planning products, and they'll be right there waiting for you. Thank you again for the 5-star review, Jessica. And then if we think about it seasonally not meaning fall, winter, spring, June. I was supposed to say fall, winter, spring, June, y'all. Winter, spring, summer, fall, it means season of your life, right? So the season of life you are in, or season of work that you're in. I believe season of work falls under season of life. So when you think about the things that define the season you're in, understanding what this season of life requires and what room you have outside of those requirements is really key. I teach a really great in-depth workshop on this. So here's a little plug. If you would like for me to come and teach that to your group, your team, your job, you can email my team at hello@shantaegrant.com. It is so good. It's so integral when it comes to the workbook, and we really learn about how to break down and understand what your season is. So I just want to put that out there. But understanding what season of life you're in, what are the requirements of that season, and then when you look at that, what room do you have left outside of those requirements is really key in understanding your capacity. Are you in a season where you're caring for an aged parent, where you are working 2 jobs, where you're in school and working, where you're planning for retirement, or where you're transitioning, you're moving from one home to another, from one state to another, from one country to another? Are you in a season of insert whatever that looks like for you, raising small children, children leaving, being an empty nester, so many other things to define your season because it's yours, but understanding that helps you to also understand what you have the capacity for. And maybe you have more capacity, and that's the thing that you will realize in your season, or less. So understanding, we talked about your daily capacity, your seasonal capacity, meaning your season of life, your weekly capacity, and things like previewing your week, which I teach you how to do. If you don't have the manual, it is the number one first place I tell people to get this first. When you're here with us at Best Today, you can get that. We'll put it in the show notes, link it in the show notes. There we go. besttoday.co/102, or you can go straight to the manual by going to besttoday.co, CTONE. Once you read it, you'll know what that stands for. But previewing your week, again, just like when we talk about your day, helps you to see what's coming up, what you have the capacity to give and take, right? To give and to receive. And someone may be thinking, what do you mean by capacity to receive? This can look like so many things. I mean, think about a cup. It only has so much capacity. After you pour too much, it's going to spill over. Or depending on how heavy what you give it, it might break. We're no different, right? You may not have the capacity to receive everybody's opinions and cares about all the things. It could break you. It could cause things to pour over and out that you don't want to pour over and out of you. So what do you have the capacity to take up to receive, right? A workload. If you have the capacity to work 40 hours in a week, but someone has given you 70 hours in a week worth of work, you don't have the capacity for that to receive it. Okay. And the same, of course, is true in your day to day. And then there are days where your capacity can shift at a moment's notice. A phone call telling you that a family member is gone or diagnosed with a grave illness may change your mental or emotional capacity and alter what you can give or even what you can receive in the hours that follow. So it's really important to be in tune with understanding your capacity and to look at your life as it is right now. List out the things that you have going on that you are an active or necessary part of, and even take a look in inventory now and say, is all of this within my capacity? Is this why I got a nervous twitch? Is this why I'm just so tired all the time or I'm so angry? Is this why I feel like, I'm so bored? I have more capacity. Where are some places where I can give or receive for myself or for others, right? But I invite you to use this as an opportunity to make that list. Use your Clear Your Mind pads. For example, I'll link to those in the show notes at besttoday.co/102 for this episode 102. But really look at your life. Are you are you operating within, above your capacity? I'm more concerned about those than the below right now. Are you operating within your capacity? Again, that definition, the amount that you can peacefully and sustainably be given or receive without compromising or adversely affecting your mental, emotional, or physical well-being. That is your homework from today's episode. Go back and listen to it again. Share it with a friend. Y'all talk about it together. Or if you don't have a friend to talk about it with, guess what? I have many for you. They are here waiting for you in the Best Today community. Join us at besttodaycommunity.com. Your first 3 days are free. This is our app and online community that is built in a safe space waiting for you to join us. Or you can always communicate with us by emailing us at hello@besttoday.co. We'd love to hear from you. But I really want you to take this into heart and start thinking about your own unique capacity. That is the assignment from today's episode. Thank you for being present with me for this week's episode of the Best Today podcast. Until next time, remember that you are capable and worthy of being your best one today at a time. And you have everything you need to have everything you want. So go on and shout it out as you live it out. This is what my best today looks like. I'll talk to you on the next episode. If you enjoyed this week's episode of the Best Today podcast, you are going to love the Best Today guide. Our Better Than a Planner guide teaches you how to get clear on what you want, identify your self-destructive habits and behaviors, and intentionally create space to prioritize yourself every single day. Don't go the journey to being your best one today at a time without the Best Today guide. See inside its pages and order yours today at besttodayguide.com. Even better, when you order the Best Today guide, we gift you with your first month free inside of the Best Today membership. So what are you waiting for? We're giving you everything you need to trade busy for intention. Go to besttodayguide.com and order yours today and join thousands of women across the globe proclaiming each day, this is what my best today looks like.